Good evening, everyone. This is Atmospheric Alex here with yet another U.S. weather forecast outlook and discussion. Models from last night and this afternoon have shifted all the snow chances significantly further south. So, could you potentially see some snow out of this upcoming pattern, or will you be stuck under some last-minute northwest trends that lead to some cold, hard rain? We'll find out all those details and even a bit more in today's video. As we start off the video, as always, with our current analysis, you could see our winter storm that is ongoing here across portions of the Mid-Atlantic and the New England regions. And then also some other snow just kind of flying around up here in your northern US and your Great Lakes, just to be associated with a lot of cold air coming in and just a little bit extra moisture involved. And as we head into our alert map, we still do have ground blizzard warnings here across portions of North Dakota, and then winter storm warnings for portions of the Great Lakes right through here, and then Erie and Ontario. We're going to have a special segment for you about a rather significant lake effect snow event. Nothing too abnormal, actually. This will be a bit on the lower end of the scale, but still will cause some impacts. We're talking about some freeze watches and freeze warnings, even some frost advisories going all the way down into Florida there, into the peninsula. That is absolutely incredible to see. So it is going to be getting cold down there, and other areas, some wind alerts too, but it looks pretty wintry out there to say the least. Our data loading really weirdly today for some reason. You can see our lake effect snow event gets underway as we get into tomorrow morning. Then into tomorrow afternoon, very, very heavy band of lake effect snow pushes through Buffalo. A snow squall is going to be expected. We're probably going to see warnings get issued for it as well. And then as we continue throughout tomorrow evening into tomorrow night, two very dominant lake effect snow bands right within here, kind of cutting across Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, just as per usual. You typically see this at this time of year, especially with all your cold air in place. Look at this band up here. Your Watertown really gets going. So we're going to be talking about hours and hours and hours on end of moderate to heavy snow for some of these areas. So travel is going to be a pretty big concern for some of you all. And then this lifts up north and your event comes to a close, and then whatever happens after that will happen. Here's a nice look at your National Weather Service's snowfall forecast. We're talking upwards of maybe a foot in some areas near Buffalo, New York, 3 to 15 inches, Watertown, New York. Some areas right within here, actually in this shade, could see upwards of 2 feet of snow. So definitely going to be a bit significant, even upwards of 30 inches in your darkest red colors. Yeah, it's going to be snowing a lot. Specifically 7 to 18 inches there for Watertown. So please be a little bit careful out there. It's going to be snowing like crazy. All right, and now it is time to take a look at our European model in terms of our temperatures. This is unfortunately not the latest model run because for some reason Synoptic Weather doesn't have the data in yet, but for the precipitation stuff, we're going to have to migrate to Weather Bell. I mean, goodness, I'm getting things mixed up because we have quite an aggressive snowstorm potentially on our hands, but it's not a forecast yet. Well, we'll get to that in a minute, but you can see your Arctic air up here through your northern US, negative 15 to negative 20 degrees being possible. That is going to be quite problematic. Look at how cold it gets. I mean, this is in the short range too. We're talking about this on Tuesday morning. Temperatures in the single digits to negatives here for basically everyone in your northern US. Gonna be absolutely freezing. You're gonna be in a frozen ice box up there. And look at this. As we move into potentially later on this week, temperatures could crash to negative 30 degrees. North Dakota, for portions of Minnesota, my goodness, you're going to have to dress in multiple layers. It's going to be cold up there. Cold is an understatement. And I mean, just take a look. The highs don't even get above negative 25 in some areas. Oh my gosh, look at this cold air. I'll be honest, I didn't think it was this extreme on this particular model run. So, I mean, take a look at here for Chicago, negative 15 degrees. Oh gosh, you can see your timing down here. These are obviously the overnight lows. Negative 40. This would be a bit historic. Now, it wouldn't break all-time records, but by definition would be historic for some. And then you can see your cold air remains locked and loaded up here. And this continues to spill further and further south. I mean, we've got areas of Ohio and Pennsylvania creeping down to negative 20 degrees. This is absolutely ridiculous, folks. Yeah, you're going to have to dress in multiple layers. It's going to be so cold. Look at this. Basically, the North Pole comes down, crashes into the U.S. Doesn't bring Santa with, unfortunately, but yeah, look at this cold air. So, and then this pattern continues, and I mean, this is getting to be ridiculous. I'm basically speechless from this model run. Lots of cold air coming is what you need to know. Now, with all this cold air, will there be any associated winter storms? There definitely could be. Here is your European model, your latest run. You could see a little bit of a wintry mix pushing on through in Arkansas, West Tennessee, potentially as we get into Wednesday. Don't be surprised if you see some snow flying around. But then after this, you can see all of your energy staying up north. But we do get a bit of an interaction as we head into Friday and Saturday. Look at this particular system on the European model. I mean, this would be an ice storm of all ages here. This is probably not going to happen. This is a little too far out. 150 hours is not fantasy land, though, so I'll just kind of take that information as you will. But I'm not expecting anything of the magnitude of this just yet. But look at how significant this snowstorm is. Like, holy smokes. You can see tons of ice, tons of snow. This is not a forecast by any means, but again, you're going to have a lot of energy up north, a lot of energy down south, and it's going to collide with each other, and that could lead to a very significant storm system across your central U.S., even your eastern U.S. as well. And we're going to have to keep a very close eye on that, because this is not the only model showing it. Now, onwards and upwards with our GFS model, what does it show in terms of our temperatures here? Well, we're going to go ahead and take a futuristic look at things. Look at it getting really cold up here. I mean, negative 30 degrees. That's almost locked in. Can you believe it? Negative 30 up there, nearly locked in. That's going to cause a lot of problems. I don't know about you. And then again, it just kind of continues here. There is no warm-up in sight, not even much of a moderation period in sight. Everything has just vanished. It's going to stay cold for a very long amount of time. Oh my gosh. How about your precipitation here? Is anything going to happen? There is a shocking amount of agreement between the GFS and the European model, and you can see here we do have a snowstorm breaking out, but look at how far south this thing goes. I mean, the European model, in terms of our snow, was all the way up kind of in this area here, but the GFS is like all the way down here, so that's, you know, something we're going to have to watch. All of your cold air bogging down our systems, you know, in the near future. That's what could potentially happen. And just take a look at how far south that gets. I do think between the 23rd and the 26th, we're going to have definitely a system to watch out for. And then maybe some more snow for other areas. Look at how far south this energy goes. Another little something. I mean, just really just a bunch of chaos, right? And then maybe something later, but we're probably going to have some sort of major storm system. I don't know if to say major, but we're going to have a big storm system probably the 23rd to the 26th of January. Now, how about our upper air pattern? And this is very important to look at if you're trying to find snow, essentially. So here's a look at our European ensemble. You can see as of right now, we have a pretty favorable pattern. We have a tall spiking ridge all the way up to Alaska here, and a really deep pronounced trough here across your eastern U.S., as you can see kind of right within here. That is going to be bringing some of your winter weather chances for your northern U.S. But after this, we're going to see a pretty big switch up here. Your cold air does continue here, goes a little further north, but take a look at what happens after this. Look at this. Boom! Big time shot of cold air, and a ton of energy seemingly forms out of literally nowhere at all. A very tall spiking ridge out here in your western U.S. is going to lead to a very significant trough here in your eastern U.S. And we have a ton of high latitude blocking up here. So all of your cold air is going to get funneled down from your Arctic regions. So certainly this is going to become quite a crazy pattern, I would have to to say as we get into late January, and this kind of just continues here. Could we see a moderation period? I have no idea just yet, and all this after here is not a forecast. As we take a look at our 3 model run trend here, you can see this blob of cold and wet air is definitely starting to shift more and more off to the west here, and it's starting to dig further and further off to the south, and your high latitude blocking is becoming way more well pronounced now. If this continues to shift further west, our ensemble snow mean is going to continue to explode, and you're going to see that towards the end of the video, so just kind of stay tuned. You're going to see some wild stuff here as we continue progressing through. How about our GFS ensemble? I'm pretty sure it's roughly the same here. You really don't have to take a look at too much stuff. You can see your high latitude blocking is very well pronounced, and here is your blast of cold air. However, it does kind of station itself a little bit further off to the east. It's kind of over in this general vicinity, whereas the European ensemble had it right here. So if it's just even a little bit further to the east, your snow chances are going to decrease because you're going to be talking about a bunch of a northwest flow and not a lot of energy coming out of the south to combine with it. So something we gotta watch. We need this thing to trend just a little bit further to the west. And then, wow, lots of areas, like I said in yesterday's video, are going to be making bank off of this pattern. Now, how about your low-level temperatures here? Here's a look at your European ensemble. The core of your polar vortex is not that far away. Look at it up here in Canada. That is some brutal cold up there. Brittle cold. And you can see basically a whole chunk of the polar vortex actually briefly enters the United States, the northern portions of the US here, as it kind of swings down off to the south like this. Kind of a lobe of your polar vortex, or even just a entire portion of your polar vortex kind of seeping on down. That is remarkable, and that's going to set up a very intense Arctic boundary here. I mean, my goodness, you're talking about slightly warmer weather down here and some brutal cold Arctic weather up here. And right in between those two areas is where you're going to have train tracks for your low pressure systems to really develop here. And again, your northern end is going to be very snowy. Your southern end is going to be quite rainy. That is something we need to watch out for very closely. But a sharp Arctic boundary, the tilt right here, I said this in yesterday's video, this is a very favorable look for a low pressure system, maybe even a strong low pressure system to develop and deliver a big time storm system for portions of your, your Ohio Valley, your Mid-South, your Southeast, Mississippi Valley. Could you even get in on the action as well? And then, of course, also in your Northeast and your Mid-Atlantic, your East Coast. You get the idea. This is a very favorable pattern, one of the most favorable patterns, quite frankly, that I have seen in a while. So if this doesn't produce, then absolutely nothing will. And this continues through. Again, a lobe of your polar vortex does eventually dive deep into your US. That's going to be your big Arctic outbreak after your storm systems move through. And then it just stays cold. Your GFS ensemble, as you can tell, I'm getting a little bit excited here looking at all this data. Again, if winter is going to continue, it better bring snow, and it looks like it could. But take a look. Again, your tilt here, it's going to favor a decent low pressure system to form, swoop across, deliver a pretty big storm system, potentially 150 hours out. So things can and still will change. Things could shift north. I doubt it because I have more data to show you at the end of the video. But you can see, and this just continues. We're talking about the freezing line almost down to the Gulf Coast again. And quite frankly, it could get there. And I mean, it just stays super duper cold for the last half of January, even into early February. And yes, there will be associated moisture with this upcoming pattern. Here is your big storm system that could be developing around Friday, Saturday, Sunday of this week. Look at how loud your signal gets here. Oh my goodness. Across portions of your central plains here, going into your Ohio Valley, and even into your mid-Atlantic areas, portions of your southeast and mid-south, that is a very strong snow signal talking about a 3-inch mean for portions of West Tennessee. Definitely a major uptrend from yesterday. And as a matter of fact, when I kind of get done with showing you the rest of everything here, let's actually skip to the end. Then I'll show you the 3 model run trend. But yes, it's trending a lot snowier out here for the east. Take a look at that. Definitely going to be delivering the goods in terms of snow. Here is your 3 model run trend, and it is super duper obvious. Look at how fast your snow line shifts off to the south here. I mean, just yesterday afternoon, we're talking like central Illinois. Now your snow line is all the way down to central Arkansas, trying to etch into northern Mississippi. Whoa, I mean, that's a massive model shift. And then areas out here have really increased with your snowfall across your mid-Atlantic. We're going to be talking about a very, very active and snowy pattern coming up for a lot of people. So you all need to stay tuned. I'm going to have to really start cranking it into high gear with these uploads for sure. Here's your European AI ensemble. I don't really like looking at this, but here is your signal. Extremely loud, and especially across your mid-Atlantic regions. That is just absolutely remarkable to see on an ensemble mean right there. But yeah, I mean, definitely quite crazy as we go all the way out here. Wow. One of the strongest snow signals I've seen in a long time. I mean, it is a European AI, though, and the AI model is actually not that good at portraying the snow mean for some reason. See, it shows snow in the Gulf, so kind of take that with a grain of salt, if you will. And we do have a lot of heavy hitters coming in here from our GEFS ensemble, from this storm system coming up. You can see kind of something right there. But here is your main show. Take a look at this. We still do have some members showing it all the way up here into portions of your Midwest, but then you have other members like Ensemble 18 down here that have it a lot more suppressed, and I really do think this will be a little more of a suppressed system, and I'll show you more data a little later here. It's a long video, but there's a lot to go over, and a lot of your members take some, pretty moderate to heavy snow pretty far south here. Take a look at that. I mean, between all your different models, look at Ensemble member 18 there, and a pretty big ice storm, is in the cards. I'm not saying that it's likely, but it's in the cards. I mean, woof, there are some big dog members mixed in here. Wow, big time storm system is becoming more possible. And from what we just saw, what does our GFS ensemble say when you kind of mix everything together? We're not looking at the individual patterns. Well, the snow mean is a little further north, but still a pretty loud signal here across portions of your Ohio Valley, of course, into your East Coast. And let's go all the way out here to the end of it. And yeah, it's going to be very snowy up here in some of these areas. And for the love of goodness, here is your European extended. Look at your 6-inch snow mean. It gets really far south in this particular model run. I mean, this is genuinely a very exciting time, I'd have to say. Like, I'm genuinely quite excited for this. Honestly, I do think that this pattern will deliver quite some chaos as we head later on through into late January, early February. Again, I have to keep restating. Look at the Northeast. Look at just everywhere. This is pure eye candy right here, folks. And some of this isn't going to verify, but still, point being, everything is dropping really far south all of a sudden, and it looks to be a pretty significant model trend between every model, pretty much. And one last thing before we round off the video. I know I've been recording for quite a while here. Here is your MJO propagation here, and we're currently in, phase 6 right here. We're going to be going into phase 7, phase 8, and maybe even down into phase 1. 7, 8, and 1 are your snowiest phases of your Mann-Julian oscillation, and that basically means where all your rising air is going to be, basically where all your moisture is going to be, causing all your precipitation. So seeing it in 7, 8, 1 is going to cause a very snowy pattern if you have a ton of cold air in place, and boy, do we have cold air in place. So really no denying it, and I think models are still trying to play catch up to this idea, which is why I think a suppressed snowstorm is going to be possible Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Again, that time frame, we gotta watch that. With that being said, thank you all so much for tuning into today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to my little corner of the weather community, and share this video with friends and family on social media, because I know for a fact they're gonna want to hear about this upcoming pattern change, and boy oh boy, it looks quite crazy for you all. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Unless I see you back here again in a couple hours, we have a pretty big solar storm on the way towards Earth that could trigger northern lights maybe tomorrow night or the night after. I may have more details on that. Again, I don't know quite yet. I'm waiting for all the data products to load in. If they do in time, I'll probably have another video out later this evening. Take care, everyone.